It's your girl Queen, reminding you guys to connect with us on patreon.com/TMG Fam, where you can get full exclusive access to all content, bonus videos, behind the scenes, vlogs, lives, and so much more.
What's good, TMG Fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction, man. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Listen, this is the 10 terrifying facts about space. Now, if you like me, you're thinking to yourself right now, I really don't want to watch this video. Do I really want to know? It's just certain things sometimes you be like, oh man, it's like you better off just not knowing. But then it's a small part of your brain and your mind that is just like, but I do want to know just a little bit, man. Until you uncover something that you shouldn't have found, and you be like, I knew I should have just listened to my, and not even open that door. But we about to open this door and walk through it, man, and check out 10 terrifying facts about space, man. So if you're new to the channel, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the fam, all right? And turn your bell on so you get the notifications when we drop these hits, all right? Let's go.
Space is infinitely large, infinitely fascinating, and most of all, infinitely scary. While roughly 99.99% of it is literally empty space, when you do come across something of substance, there's a halfway decent chance it could easily kill you, or at the very least, destroy your life. Much of what's truly...
That's what you want to hear right off the bat. Anything you probably come in contact with probably instantly kill you. That's what you want to hear. Right before you go on your first space adventure, or you know what I mean? You venture out or wanna become an astronaut and go out into space or something like that. That's exactly what you want to hear right there. It's probably a greater chance that you won't make it back.
Space is millions or even billions of light years away, so there's little chance for it to affect our daily lives. However, space is incredibly unpredictable and completely out of our control. If some rogue star or errant black hole decides that tomorrow is our little blue marble's time to go, then we're just going to have to accept it. In the meantime, join us as we count down 10 truly terrifying facts about the horror film that is our universe.
Really having second thoughts.
They say nature abhors a vacuum. Well, she should do something about the astronomically powerful vacuum that is slowly but surely sucking up our galaxy like a spaghetti noodle. Roughly 150 to 250 million light years away from our own Milky Way galaxy lies an anomaly known as the Great Attractor. A cute name like that betrays just how horrifying this thing is. Its massive gravitational pull is enough to send entire galaxies its way, where they then collapse upon themselves, and very likely we're on a collision course with it. Remember, nothing in space sits still, and that includes the Milky Way. Our galaxy zips through space at 1.3 million miles per hour, and because the Great Attractor is so gravitationally powerful, we're headed right toward it. Granted, this isn't likely to happen for a few billion years, but simply knowing the universe has already decided our galaxy's fate like that is sobering, to say the least.
Exactly.
What's truly scary is we still don't actually know what the Great Attractor is. For one thing, there doesn't appear to be enough mass around that area to account for all that gravitational pull. Not that we could just peer into a telescope to find out. The Great Attractor is, conveniently enough, hidden behind what's called the zone of avoidance. That's the part of the Milky Way that's so cluttered.
Great Attractor, zone of avoidance. Yeah, these are all terrifying words. Terrifying words, man. I'm just like, no.
With gases, stars, and space dust that we simply can't see beyond it. So whatever the Great Attractor actually is, it remains largely a mystery, beyond the fact that it's endlessly huge and endlessly hungry.
That's scary.
For all the rage right now, what with scientists recently capturing our first ever image of these otherwise invisible nightmares. But the Eye of Sauron looking phenomenon that's trending in the news isn't the black hole we should be worried about. There's one far closer, and far more capable of crushing us without a single thought. Given the catchy name of B31715+425, this hole is wandering through space.
What's catchy about that? It sounds like a prison number. He just rattled off somebody's prison number.
Given the catchy name of B31715+425, this hole is wandering through space at about 3 million miles per hour. And I do mean wandering. Most black holes remain attached to its galaxy, but B31715+425 is something else entirely. A rogue black hole, whose galaxy got ripped to shreds after colliding with a bigger galaxy. Rather than assimilate into the bigger galaxy, as most black holes do, B31715+425 instead found itself ripped away, hurling around space on its lone lonesome, sucking up whatever's in its path. It's the intergalactic equivalent of a starving tiger that escaped the zoo and is heading for your backyard. The rogue B31715 plus 425 is currently about 2 billion light years away from us, but at its current zippy speed, it could potentially cover that distance mighty fast. And if it does come our way, we won't even know, because everything around us will instantaneously disappear. B31715 plus 425 is 1,000,000 times more massive than the sun, so it likely won't have to get close at all if it wants to destroy our entire galaxy.
Gosh. That's scary, man. Just to know what's possibly in store. Well, not possibly, what is in store for Earth and just other galaxies and different things. It's just, first of all, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Just to think about people have done the research and spent the time and did different things to understand or kind of get an understanding of what could possibly be going on out there. But just to hear it played back to you is just terrifying, man. Terrifying. But it also lets you know, man, just live each day like it's your last. Carpe diem.
World leaders billions of light years away are certainly scary, but at least we can sleep knowing they're not likely to kill us in our lifetime. However, there is something that could, if not kill us, instantaneously destroy our power and technology, sending us back to the Dark Ages with no warning whatsoever. The culprit? Our very own sun. Occasionally, the sun emits gigantic solar flares that can generate cosmic solar storms. These storms cause catastrophic levels of UV radiation and energy to hurtle hundreds of millions of miles from the sun's surface in a matter of seconds. If any of these storms come Earth's way, the radiation and energy would likely be enough to disable and destroy all things electric. Goodbye internet, GPS, TV, and artificial lighting of any kind. We would instantly be plunged back into pre-technological times, relying on whatever heat and light Earth decides to provide for us and nothing more. It would likely take years to recover, and the cost would be trillions of dollars. Don't think for a second it can't happen, because just a...
Now that's something that I think that could possibly happen in years to come, or our grandkids' lifetime or something like that, because like you said, that could happen at any moment. You know what I mean? And if we do, a lot of us are just completely and royally just done. Just we're done. You know what I mean? No technology. We've become so technology dependent that the slightest little bit of decrease of technology or access to technology, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. A lot of us would, and I include myself in that, man. I've become so, and it's terrifying and scary to how dependent we've come. Just, if you don't think you have become, sit your phone down for a minute, right? And then consciously see how many times you subconsciously just reach for your phone without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? That's how dependent we are. I told myself the other day I was going to put my phone down. Not even 2 minutes later, I subconsciously reached for the phone and turned it on. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of truth into what he's saying right here.
And the cost would be trillions of dollars. Don't think for a second it can't happen, because just a few years ago it almost did. In July 2012, the sun belched out its most powerful solar flare in over 150 years, sending a huge wave of toxic energy screaming through Earth's orbit. Our planet missed getting caught in the crossfire by just 1 week. Had the sun thrown its tantrum just a wee bit sooner, the world today would be mighty different. Very possibly you wouldn't be watching this video right now, nor would I have written and filmed it. Instead, we'd all be farming for food and huddling around candles for warmth at night.
Wow.
You know how our old friends the dinosaurs bid farewell to existence thanks to a meteor strike 65 million years ago? Well, that could happen again at literally any time. If a big enough space rock were to enter our atmosphere and punch our planet at top speed, anywhere from 25,000 to 160,000 miles per hour, the insane series of disasters combined with oxygen-choking dust would send almost all life to an early grave. Thankfully, we do have modern technology, provided a solar flare doesn't knock it all out first, that can track nearby meteors, comets, and asteroids. If we detect one may be close and large enough to do major damage, we can work to reroute or even destroy it before it destroys us. But even then, if space wants to hurt us, it can and will, no matter what we think. We got a big reminder of that in 2013, when a meteor entered the atmosphere over Russia. It broke apart and the mini-rocks wound up injuring hundreds. But what if it had stayed intact? If it did, and if it had been any bigger, untold amounts of life could have perished.
Wow.
Much like an empire conquering new lands to become a bigger empire, there are actually stars out there so dedicated to becoming bigger, brighter stars they will literally eat nearby stars to become bigger and brighter. Technically called O-type stars, but more appropriately nicknamed vampire stars. These predators are typically enormous blue giants attached to much smaller stars that serve as the bigger star's dinner. Imagine a supermassive Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat sucking his opponent's souls to stay forever young, and you're on the right track. This kind of life isn't meant to last long, and indeed these vampire stars are on a collision course with doom. Once it sucks up enough of its partner star's energy, not only will the smaller star be left a cold, lifeless husk, but the vampire star will grow so massive and so bloated that it will likely explode in a spectacular supernova. That's why it's so important to not overeat. Sometimes the scariest something is nothing at all. Take the Eridanus Supervoid, a section of intergalactic space that is just that, super void. There's literally nothing inside, not even dark matter. Scientists estimate the Eridanus Supervoid, also known as the CMB cold spot, measures 500 million light-years across. A light-year spans roughly 5.88 trillion miles, so multiply that by 500 million and realize there's an entire section of space that large, with absolutely nothing around. Now realize that NASA has yet to discover anything in the universe larger than that. Some think the void may be the largest black hole in the universe, while others actually think it may have formed when a parallel universe collided with our own, stamping out any and all matter caught in the middle. While the multiverse theory is certainly left field, it's currently about as plausible as any other explanation for the void's eerie existence.
How much stuff do y'all think is out there that NASA hasn't given us or let us in on, that they've discovered and they don't want to cause like worldwide panic, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, hearing some of these facts just it just brings that to the forefront of my mind, man, because I know it's things out there that they're just not telling us, man. And that part of me wants to say thank you, but other part of me is like, nah, man, I need to know. You know what I'm saying? Let us choose our own fate. Let us be in control of that.
Few sights are more beautiful than a starry night sky. On a clear evening, space can seem positively littered with glowing dots and swirls of different shapes and sizes. It won't last forever, however. As depressing as it sounds, Earth will eventually bear witness to a sky with virtually nothing on display. Future night watchers will see nothing but endless black. Over the next several billion years, our galaxy will merge with other galaxies, keeping them largely out of view. Meanwhile, other galaxies will move further and further away from us, making it difficult and eventually impossible for us to see them. Adding to that issue is that as the universe expands more and more, it'll do so faster and faster, to the point where one day you'll see stars and the next they're gone forever. In billions of years, if we're still around, humans will likely have no idea space even exists. They'll see the sun, the moon, a few extra dots here and there, and that's it. As Scientific American explained, to our distant descendants, the universe will look like a small puddle of stars in an endless, changeless void. It's not quite as romantic as a backlit canopy, but far more realistic.
And see, that's another thing, man. It's been times where I look up in the sky and be like, man, I haven't looked up in the sky in a long time. It's beautiful. Like, am I the only person that goes long periods of time without just looking up and just admiring, you know what I mean, the sky like that? And the stars and different things. Like, it's probably been a while since I've actually looked up. And if I go outside tonight and I look up, I'll be like, wow. And just be in awe of that moment. I can't be the only one that go long periods without just looking up and at night and admiring the stars. Or maybe I am, I don't know. I be sharing too much with y'all.
Not everything scary about space is millions or billions of miles away. Sometimes space can mess with us right in front of your very eyes. Take a 2016 incident where the rigors of space actually changed a man's genetic buildup to the point where he became an entirely different person. In 2016, an astronaut named Scott Kelly returned to Earth after a year working in the International Space Station. To his surprise, he learned that he was 2 inches taller than before, which shouldn't happen to adults. But that's not all. Scientists studied his DNA and discovered that his genetic makeup had dramatically changed compared to when he first left Earth. This meant that for all intents and purposes, Scott Kelly was literally a new man. He also no longer had an identical twin brother. When he left Earth, fellow astronaut Mike Kelly looked exactly like him. A year later, they were fraternal twins, simply because space willed it that way. But how?
What?
Scientists believe that space is so foreign and so hard on the human body that it can actually alter our cells' basic biology, effectively mutating them. This is what happened to Scott Kelly, and he's remained a changed person to this day. He's no longer 2 inches taller than his brother, but his DNA remains altered, and it will likely stay that way for the rest of his life.
Holy snap. So you know he's like literally become like a science experiment to people now, right? He's literally become an experiment because they want to know, like, is this gonna increase? Like, I would have so many questions. Is this gonna increase his life expectancy, or is it gonna decrease his life expectancy? You know what I'm saying? Is he a part, like, is he like 3/4 or 2% mutant? Does he have something? Like, I know he was under a lot of tests and still are. They're like monitoring him. He's like a hamster at this point. He's gonna be on that little wheel. He's gonna be being monitored for the rest of his life because that's crazy. 2 inches taller when you came back, altering your DNA, like, that's unheard of.
If you're going to die in space, chances are it won't happen due to a black hole or a solar flare smacking you in the face. More likely, you'll succumb to the horrors of decompression or exposure to the vacuum of space, which sounds like a terrible way to go. For the most part, if an astronaut suffers decompression, they will die very shortly after. In 1965, a technician at Houston's Johnson Space Center was working in a vacuum chamber. He accidentally detached a hose which immediately depressurized his spacesuit. Within seconds, he was unconscious, though thankfully others were present to repressurize his suit in time for him to regain consciousness. Even that brief bit of exposure to what is essentially space damaged the man. He could feel his tongue begin to boil as he passed out, and for 4 days afterward, he couldn't taste anything. He wound up being okay, but exposure to that vacuum for even a few seconds longer could have proven devastating, if not violently fatal.
His tongue began to boil. Come on.
Let's close this video out with a terrifying space fact that only exists because of us. Look up in the night sky and realize that among the stars and lights there are likely countless dead bodies up there. We've effectively turned space into an infinitely large floating cemetery. While we don't do it anymore, the early days of exploring space saw us doing so using animals. We would send dogs, cats, rats, flies, rabbits, frogs, and even a chimpanzee into space. To see what would happen. As it turned out, nothing good happened, and tragically many animals died in space. Even worse, many of them are still up there, stuck in spacecrafts that never return to Earth and are doomed to drift forever through space, alone and forgotten. Even creepier is how many failed human missions met the same fate. Nobody ever collected these spacecrafts either, meaning countless doomed Major Toms are stuck up there too, floating in their tin cans far above the world for all eternity, or at least until the sun catches them and roasts them to dust.
Wow. Wow, that's how you gonna end the video, just like that? And I had no idea that was like that. So many animals, so many different things that were sent out into space, and wow, that's scary. That's super scary, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, man. Did this scare the life out of you? Like it just did me. Like I knew it would do at the beginning of the video, but I still kept watching it. Like that wasn't very smart of me. I know it. I knew it going into this though. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Leave a like, share the video, subscribe, and stick around and stay tuned to the next reaction, man. I'm out. Peace. Y'all stay solid. Hey.